This trip took us 3 weeks, 3,500 kilometers, or roughly 2,200 miles. While being on the road was exciting and fun, you know the feeling that you haven't been home for weeks, and the second you step through the door, it's like your body just instantly relaxes. Yeah, it still feels good to be home. Oh God. My own bed, my own shower, my own space. We had taken many weekend trips before, but this one was different. Even though we have never done a trip this long, but the length of this trip wasn't really the main thing that set this one apart from the other ones. This one gave me perspective into some critical detail that I had overlooked for so long, as well as some insight into my mental space that I didn't know existed. Needless to say, this trip was bizarre. There were days where absolutely nothing went to plan, and we had to work to salvage the day. Even though not every moment was exactly what I wanted, but I felt like I came back understand myself better. After I fully digest what happened, it was like life kept on giving me lessons that I didn't expect. But before we dive into the moments that changed everything, I want to give you guys a little context. Because the story doesn't really start on the road. Instead, it starts here. For the past couple of years, I have the privilege to graduating from college, then to getting a corporate job, to eventually quitting that job to start working for myself. I mean, with many lifestyle that one can choose from, there are always some give and take. In my experience with tech job, I wasn't lacking anything but time. The sole idea that got me through the day-to-day was telling myself multiple times how many days are left until Friday. I lived too many weeks counting it down. In China, being able to have the weekends off while working a tech job, it was already abnormal. I knew I'm blessed. But yeah, during that period, I always thinking about the future, meaning that I would always wishing and contemplating about things that I think I can do when I'm free. Some weekends I actually get to do a lot of the things that I thought about. Most of the weekends I would just sit on the couch doing nothing to recover from the working week. Living that lifestyle, despite my body was at work, my mind was trying to be somewhere else. Even after I quit, I never really got out of that mindset. I guess the damage was deeper than I expected. The worst thing is that I didn't know how bad it was for me. For this trip, our original idea was plan everything. I mean, every single thing. And we did. When we first defined the scope of this trip, for things like how many days we are going to stay on the road and what cities we are definitely wanting to see and some of the best places that we should definitely visit. In the end, we made a comprehensive plan and then we were ready to go. My wife and I with our 2 baby dogs. At first, everything went exactly as planned. We ate mostly local food and we saw the most iconic building and never missed a must-visit spot. Our first stop of the trip was a smaller city, but we had plenty of fun. Then moving on to the next stop, it was 5 hours away, and that is exactly where everything went south. Since it was 5 hours away, we didn't think it was necessary to look ahead for hotels in Hangzhou, our next stop. I mean, we have no reason to expect it was going to take so long. At the first stop, it took probably a second. It was definitely not hard. By the time we got to Hangzhou, it must have been around 5 or 6 hours of traveling already. And my wife told me we had 3 hotels to choose from, but they were all relatively far from the touristy spots. Those were our options, then we gotta pick one. Plus we have the car, so we don't have to worry about transportation all that much. So eventually we decided on a newer, smaller and local hotel Just built like a year ago. Not that many reviews. Since our luck wasn't that good with the city, so we couldn't be too picky. Once we got there, we parked the car and went upstairs ready to check in. But as we started the check-in process, my wife was denied from registration. The hotel told us that they cannot take in any guests who doesn't have a Chinese national ID. Afterwards, I searched online for the reason why she was denied. Then I saw a post that says, in China, if any given hotel wants to take in guests from other countries, they would need to get a permit from the government. The reason that we got denied from the front desk was because they could not accommodate foreign guests due to their lack of permits. For all the places we traveled to, we never had a situation where we got denied from a hotel. My guess was that sometimes some of them just didn't play by the book. They might have just took a picture of my wife's passport and call it a day. But they actually never ran through the government system. So I guess smaller towns, maybe less people cares. But Hangzhou is the capital of the province, so the oversight might be stricter. But anyway, now we went back to the car with our two dogs, maybe about like 6:30, 8 or 9 hours on the road already, and we still couldn't find accommodations. So we sat back down to look some more. In the end, no luck. By then, the dog hadn't been out of the car much, just a few short walks. And we figured it was time to take them out to get some air. Right next to the place that we parked, it was a nice patch of open grass in front of a condo. While my wife walked the dogs, I sat down nearby to continue the search. I wasn't paying too much attention, but my wife thought everybody who walked past us was staring. Now, she's used to being stared at. Foreigners aren't too common in smaller towns, but now we were in Hangzhou, the capital of the province. They shouldn't be all that surprised about a foreigner. But she said it was different. Everyone was staring. So I thought it was odd, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. So we walked back to the car quickly and tried to find some place to rest for the night. Now thinking back to the moments, man, we have no idea what's going on. At that point, we haven't had a decent meal yet. As the sky gets darker, the problem gets more pressing. We found a place that was supposed to serve a lot of local food that we wanted to try. But since we got there around 8 o'clock, most of the good stuff was already sold out. Instead of just working with what we got and go ahead with ordering, instead we walked straight to the McDonald's next door. And it does the job. After we ate, we continued the search for maybe 45 minutes or so. Instead of hotels, we discovered something that would shock us for the next couple of days. Since we've been searching for so long, I decided to take a break and I went on Red Note to relax for a little bit. Finding a pet-friendly hotel in Hangzhou, why is it so difficult? So I typed that into the search bar and a post came up with some pretty nerve-wracking information. A few years back, the city of Hangzhou, they issued a new regulation on dogs, which strictly banned dogs from being in any public spaces from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. What happened to homeless dogs, some of you might ask? There were police assigned to take them in and eventually to put them down. Then there were some, let's call them vigilantes, who actually took the liberty and helped to turn government's vision into reality. Let's just say I hate to talk about that part. There's too many videos online showing what had happened. So what will happen if any given individual wants to walk their pets during not permitted time? It depends. If the individual is properly registered with the government, they would just face the fine from $28 to $140. On the other hand, if they were not properly registered with the government, and the police might pull you aside and ask you, where's your paper for the dog, and you are lacking the ability to show them you registered, they could literally take your dogs and kill it. There were only two cities in China which has strict law like so, and we were just happened to be in one of them. I mean, I was fortunate never know that was a thing, but now that we're here, it doesn't help me at all. After that discovery, my perspective for that city had completely changed. At that point, I felt nothing but shocked. All I could think was that I could have got my dogs killed. I knew right then I didn't want to spend a second longer in that city. Even though our day was nothing but hectic, we charged the car and we got out of the city as soon as we could. Then I thought back to the moment we were walking the dogs. When everybody was staring, I realized that's because they all knew this law was a thing. I assumed they were just thinking, how dare are those two people? It still gives me goosebumps every time that I think about it. That wasn't my first time in the city even. I went there for a business trip a while back. I really enjoy the city, especially for the pace of living and the vibe of the city. And now that image is all gone for me. Now when I think back on it, I just felt silly and dumb at the same time. Why didn't I know that was a thing? And why didn't I do research beforehand? At that point, according to our plan, now we were supposed to be in the dog hating town for another 3 days. Instead of just going back to the board and rearrange everything, we just said, fuck it. We will go see whatever. Suzhou was the next city on our list, so we decided to move on and just go see that instead. We realized the trip didn't have to follow some imaginary itinerary. We could just be in the moment. Unaware of the city, that was probably already 11 o'clock at night. We searched the hotel in Suzhou. It only took us no more than 15 minutes to find a really clean and good hotel to stay. We were finally to get some rest from that crazy day. And the very next morning, we had a long talk. And that's the point that our trip had changed completely. Now, our carefully crafted plan are just rough guide. Before, our strategy was to find a hotel in an area of that city and then move on from areas to area until we're satisfied with that city. But after Hangzhou, we realized that we care more about spending time together, us and the dog. And we were really concerned about staying in some fancy hotels. So I asked my wife if she would mind to camp in the car. We had done it before, but often we plan our trip around the ability to camp in the car. And this time we did not plan with that in mind, so we don't have our regular gear with us. So we weighed the pros and cons, and we realized that might be the better option for this trip. So we headed to the mall and picked up a few things that make this camping in a car thing more comfortable. We were able to take our dog to see the thundering waterfall and timeless ocean. And a beautiful island for the first time. Those places are previously have been crossed off our list due to lack of hotels that accept dogs or foreigners. This trip had ended up being the best trip that we have ever taken together. We tried every food that we wanted to try and saw everything that we wanted to see. And we didn't have to worry about all the fine details that just add stress to our days. We woke up every morning in the car and just decide then and there where we're gonna go, do we want to do. No constraint, no checkout time, no extra steps. Just pack up the car and go. I realized I had discovered a new way for us to travel more at ease and less stressful. Following itinerary was nice, but often became frustrating when things are not working out. But now, thinking on my feet had become my greatest assets on this trip. My mind was hyper-focused during those moments. I wasn't thinking about if I did X or Y that would make my day somehow better. I was just simply living it. To stay focused felt effortless. Life just felt like a giant flow state. There wasn't a moment that I didn't feel like I was fully present. We never expect our trip to work out exactly as we planned, but we certainly did not see how easily it could have fall just like it did. During this trip, we slowly leaned into our problems. We could have just changed direction entirely rather than just accept the failure like we did. But instead, somehow the process of accepting made four of us feel more connected than ever. Just by being back home, the old way of living in the future was starting to work its magic. Right when I started to realize the real souvenir I brought home wasn't the photos or the places that I visit. It was learning how to live in the moment. Just by being in every mundane moment, my days are somehow more fulfilled. I started to enjoy the simpler things in life. I'm still shocked by how easily something could change by something so random. I mean, if everything had gone as planned exactly, I'm not sure this trip could be as meaningful as it did. Instead of just touring cities and ticking things off checklists, I came home with a few lessons I will carry around for a long time. The tendency of living in the future, that is a work in progress still. But now I am not just wishing for the next good moment to come sooner. I'm excited to live this one right here, right now. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you do, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Also, just a little side note. If you're thinking about moving to China and you're a dog lover, do not move to Hangzhou. Okay.